In the high-stakes world of military hardware, every single war is basically a laboratory, and every sale is a huge geopolitical statement. Countries aren't just selling weapons, they're selling influence. And right now, there's this fierce rivalry playing out between two of the world's top fighter jets, and it's having massive consequences for global power dynamics. So let's break down this tale of two jets.
Okay, so on one side, you've got the American F-35 Lightning II. It's billed as this fifth-generation marvel, which basically means it's designed from the ground up for stealth, incredible sensors, and next-level networking. And on the other side, you have the French Rafale. It's a 4.5-generation jet. But here's the thing. It has earned its reputation not in some slick marketing brochure, but on the actual battlefield. One is a promise of future tech, the other is cold, hard combat performance.
And that really brings us to the central question, doesn't it? Why would Ukraine, a nation literally fighting for its survival, and one that's super reliant on Western, especially American aid, go for the French Rafale instead of the supposedly cutting-edge American F-35? Well, the answer is this fascinating story of propaganda, performance, and of course, politics.
To really understand Ukraine's decision, we've got to rewind a bit. This choice wasn't just made in a vacuum. Nope. It came after a years-long information war that was designed specifically to discredit one of these jets. So the fuse was really lit when India used its brand new Rafales in the conflict with Pakistan. And this is where the Rafale showed off a key, game-changing capability. The jets pulled off these precision strikes deep inside enemy territory without ever crossing the border. For Pakistan, this standoff capability was a total strategic nightmare. Since they couldn't prove they had actually shot down any of these advanced jets, a different kind of campaign began.
And then, suddenly, these claims start popping up. First, reports alleged 5 Indian jets were downed. Then, a little while later, that number grew to 6. A couple of months after that, it was 7. The numbers just kept changing. But here's the kicker. Verifiable proof was never, ever provided. It was a classic case of narrative warfare.
So, what was the real motivation for pushing this narrative so hard? It wasn't just about regional pride. It was about clearing the market for a much bigger prize, America's own fighter jet, the F-35. The goal was pretty simple. Make the Rafale look unreliable so the F-35 looks like the only real option on the table.
But the F-35 was having its own PR problems. An attempt to show off its capabilities to India, a huge potential buyer, ended, well, embarrassingly, when the jet couldn't even take off. Around the same time, videos started going viral showing F-35s crashing during just routine landings. So despite all the 5th-gen hype, the project was dogged by reports of just staggering costs and logistical nightmares that really started to undermine its sales pitch.
And this is where our story takes a really dramatic turn. Amidst all this marketing, all the propaganda, and the technical debates, one single decision from a nation at war suddenly cut through all the noise and changed the entire game. Let's see how it all unfolded.
100. That's it. That's the number that sent absolute shockwaves through the defense world.
Ukraine, led by Volodymyr Zelenskyy, signed a deal with France for 100 Rafale fighter jets. I mean, for a country that's seen as such a close partner of the US, this was a monumental choice. It directly challenged the whole narrative that the F-35 was the undisputed king of the skies.
And listen, this wasn't some quiet, backroom deal. President Zelenskyy himself called his visit to France, where this whole thing was solidified, one of the most productive visits this year. That just tells you how strategically important this acquisition is for Ukraine's war effort.
A deal of this magnitude doesn't just happen in a bubble. It creates some very clear geopolitical winners and losers.
All right, let's look at the scorecard. In the winners column, France and President Macron for sure. Their jet just got a massive vote of confidence on the world stage. The Rafale's reputation is now solidified as a battle-proven platform. And India's original choice, totally vindicated. Now for the losers, the F-35's reputation definitely takes a hit, as all that marketing hype gets challenged by real-world strategic priorities. And, well, the dominance of US arms marketing faces a pretty serious challenge. But to really, truly understand this, we need to look beyond just the hardware. This decision wasn't just about comparing technical specs on a spreadsheet. No, it was about immediate battlefield needs, it was about trust in a partner, and it was about a clear-eyed grand strategy.
So here's what it really all came down to. Ukraine needs the exact standoff capability the Rafale showed off against Pakistan, that power to launch devastating long-range strikes from the relative safety of its own airspace.
This need became absolutely critical when the U.S. hesitated to provide its own long-range missiles, reportedly because they were afraid of escalation. That hesitation created a huge opening for France to step in, not just as a supplier, but as a more decisive and willing partner.
And the deal is more than just jets. It also includes the advanced SAMP/T air defense system. Think of it like a 120-kilometer protective bubble, a really powerful, cost-effective alternative to the American Patriot system. This wasn't just France selling planes. This was France offering Ukraine a comprehensive defense solution, a complete strategic package.
So at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Ukraine, a nation in the fight of its life, just couldn't afford to bet on marketing promises or a partner who hesitated at a critical moment. They chose a trusted ally in France and a fighter jet with a proven track record of doing exactly what they needed to do right now.
And it leaves us with a final, really powerful question. When the stakes are at their absolute highest, when a nation's survival is on the line, what truly matters more? The promise of a next-generation marketing pitch or the hard-earned proof of battlefield results?